everyone to episode 13 of the What Sales and Marketing Got to Do with It podcast. My name is Gemma Adair, founder and principal marketing consultant at Realist Consultancy. This podcast aims to delve deep into the minds of sales and marketing industry leaders, uncovering what keeps them up at night, what drives their passion, and how they execute successful strategies in both their personal and professional lives. I'm delighted to welcome Gregg. She works as founder and business marketing consultant at Realist Consultancy. Great to have you, Chloe.
Hi, Gemma. Thank you for having me.
Perfect. Good morning. Good morning. What's your morning been like?
Morning's been good, quite hectic. Having a 7-year-old who is a fashionista now is definitely interesting in the mornings, trying to get two irritable ladies ready. In the rain as well, with curly hair, naturally.
sounds like a challenge in general, but something I have a challenge with, curly hair.
Yeah.
For sure. Please introduce who you are and what you do.
So my name's Gregg. I am the founder of Realist Consultancy, which does marketing strategies, business strategies, and social media marketing. So I started this earlier this year because I'd run businesses before. I was in the employed world for a couple of years and realised that I am meant to be a leader and I'm meant to run a business. I'm not for employed life, and I like to treat my employees with the utmost respect, and I feel like we need more of those types of managers and owners in this world to make it better and to get better results. So that's kind of where I'm at now and what I do.
Awesome. No, that's great. And I think we'll touch upon what you just mentioned there now about, having leaders and having business owners that sort of take their employees along the journey with them. And I think, given that and they're not just employees, right? It's a team, it's a collective, they're all working together in order to achieve, the business goals, desires, that kind of thing. And I think it's really, really, really important, given that, for a lot of people, it's that 9 to 5, it's their every day. So we spend a lot of time with each other during working hours.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you started your business. By the sounds of it, that would include marketing. So when and where did your marketing journey begin?
Oh gosh, my marketing journey began in 2009, where I actually started my first business in an area that was a very difficult area. So I live in East Sussex, and it's a very kind of middle class, kind of very uppity area. And we decided that we wanted to do something that was really focused on kind of the urban side and kids and getting them active and getting them out there, but also showing people how to be professional dancers. Now, in this area, very difficult to kind of stand out. And we decided to stick to just one niche within the industry, wanted to stick to kind of street dance, flips, tricks, kind of all of that type of more urban side. And we wanted to have professionals that would go on and do like tours and get hired and, just be able to be in adverts, etc. like that. And we were like, okay, so let's focus. And that's where my marketing really had to kick in, because you can have all the ideas in the world, but if you don't market right, then you'll never see the results. And we launched, and our marketing was just, we were pushing, and we were like getting on. These were the early days of like Facebook and Facebook ads and, all of those types of good stuff, and getting on top of Google. And we really had to strive it to the point that we had no room in the end. We had to actually start turning people away, and we had too many dancers on the books, and the marketing made the business really work. And that's where I found that was where my passion was. It was the marketing, it was the setting up the business structures, because every single individual that became a professional dancer then needed to know how to market themselves, and then needed to know how to do their strategy, because most dancers are really good at dance but terrible at business, terrible at marketing themselves. So it really went hand in hand. And then when we got our own building, I really had to step up my marketing, because there were several different businesses within that one business. And yeah, that's when I realized, like, this is my jam. Like marketing, that is my jam over all of the other stuff.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it because you light up. I believe when you talk about marketing and you talk about dancing as well. So it's kind of like it's creative. They're both creative. Which is brilliant. Have you faced challenges in your sort of marketing career or along this journey that you've been on, and how did you overcome them, particularly
Yeah.
marketing?
So for the marketing, it's very hard to stand out sometimes, and it's quite hard to sometimes understand your exact customer and who you're marketing to. So, and this has happened several challenges for me, because it was in the beginning, then it was in the middle when we got the building who we were marketing to, and then when I went into the corporate job, which was when I went employed. So trying to actually find exactly what your audience wants to see, because everyone jumps on the trends, but if the trend isn't relevant to the audience you're trying to get to, it's like marketing to an ocean, and there's just, it's not, you're not hitting the point. So it's doing loads of that testing, and I've had moments where you put things out there and there's no pull, and then you put things out there and there's no pull, and then those types of challenges, they can make you feel like your business isn't good enough, or you're not doing it right, or you're not doing what you should be doing. But actually that testing is really important, because you're actually learning what not to do and how to push things out. And sometimes it takes those actions, which can be quite brutal on your ego as well. To kind of overcome those challenges. And I think the biggest challenge marketing wise is knowing what I'm talking about and people not listening to me. That's another big challenge. When I was in my last job, I really had ideas and I knew they could work, and they were just kind of like, nope, we want to do it this way. So those are the challenges that you have to kind of work around, because it's just based on their style and what they want to try and pursue. So even though you have yours, I think I'm very passionate, so sometimes I find it quite hard to when you're like, oh, come on, if you just do this, it'll work, and then you're like, okay. So I think that answers that question.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think you've raised a very relevant point, because there could be multiple different stakeholders in a business which you need the kind of buy-in from. And I think there's that education piece, just getting their buy-in to kind of educate them a bit more, take them on the journey with you to understand, okay, this I'm making the recommendation of this tactic, like let's trial it, because that's what marketing is, right? You have to trial it, you have to see what works and what doesn't, and you will come up against those challenges for sure.
For sure.
What does a day in the life of Chloe look like? Take us through your day, actually, from the morning to
So
finish.
from the moment I wake up, I usually have two eyeballs here, which is my daughter, asking me some ridiculous question. So that's my wake up call. It's my favorite wake up call. And then usually another pair of eyes, which is the dog here, telling me to get up. So I no longer need alarm clocks, because at 6 o'clock every morning, that is mine. But in the day of my life, so on a typical day, because recently I've been not working because I've not been well. So, but usually it would be getting up, looking at my structures for the day. I'm a big whiteboard person, so I usually have whiteboards everywhere with what my tasks are, what the challenges are for this month, what I need to finish. So I'm very much about setting off my day with what structurally needs to be done right. I'm quite an organized person. And then it would be mainly working on kind of what kind of social content has got to be going out, what type of socials are important this month, or is there any particular dates, is there any deadlines, and then also kind of, I'm a big stalker on LinkedIn. I admit it, that this is how I actually really do a lot of my strategies. So I spend a lot of time stalking potential clients and what they like, what they don't like, stalking people who I might be working for, or if I'm proposing to them at the moment. Like, you know, I'll be looking at what do they do at the moment, what don't they do, who do they work with, and what is their competitors. So I'll usually do quite a lot of stalking of LinkedIn as part of my day, probably a good hour of stalking and analysing. But yeah, it's kind of weird because my day goes up and down. It's different every day. And especially when you're a new business owner, because where I'd done it before, trying to not compare the two. So I, you know, like even just things like my accounts, silly things like that, making sure I've put in all of my things, otherwise it will get overloaded. Or, okay, I've done everyone else's stuff, but have I done stuff for my business that needs to be done? Like right now I'm working on my website, so sometimes I'll get a little message from my husband, who's a website developer, him saying, you know, I can't do it unless you give me the stuff that I need. It's there, but you know, so there's just loads of challenges, especially at the beginning stage. So it's a lot of multitudes of things, but my days are pretty hectic. I will admit, like it's from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed is pretty crazy. Yeah, my house is pretty wild, and we're all very vibrant, loud, you know, energetic people. So
Never a dull moment.
never a dull moment.
Is there an area of marketing you like the most? And is there an area of marketing that you like the least, and why?
I think the area of marketing I like the most is the creative strategy side of it, and actually really starting to learn about an audience, or even just, you know, when you do your buyer personas and understanding who you're actually targeting and actually connecting with those people. So I'm very much a connection person, so I really like doing the strategies with people. I like connecting with people, and I like, you know, seeing the outcome of like people's ideas coming together. Because when you're all sat there and there's this idea that you start off with, and then suddenly it turns into even, you know, it sounds silly to some people, but just as simple as a tile. So like just a social media tile, and it looks really good. It looks banging. Now, people who aren't in marketing won't understand the strain of like 5 different opinions possible to make that tile work, and how that one tile can then lead on to so many different ones. And it's like a big piece of work, that one original one that actually works. And getting sign off from difficult people is amazing. That one, when you get a tile and it's like, yep, like, oh my God, thank you. But then things I dislike the most about marketing is how fake it's all become, to be honest, and oversaturated it is. Like I find false advertising very quite hard to take. You know, you get a lot of people be like, earn 6 figures in a month, but the reason they're earning 6 figures in a month is because they've just conned someone into that 6 figures. And I think that there's not enough honesty with, like, you know, if you do want to start anything, there is studying that's going to come with it. You always have to learn. I'm still learning every day. Like I'm very, as you know, I speak to you quite a lot, like I'm very much into my Fridays and my study day. You know, I'm always trying to stay on top of the trends, and you know, trying to keep, and when I say trends, I mean like educational trends, not a TikTok dance. I'm talking about, you know, the new AI platforms that come out, like Canva updates constantly with new stuff that send me like, oh my God, I've just got the hang of it now, and now they've changed it again, but it's amazing. I just got to learn how to use it. And just, you know, even the way that ads work changes month by month. The platforms that are working, like one month Twitter is down and dead, and the next minute it's like rose from a grave. So I think the fakeness and the pretentiousness and the fact that a lot of it actually doesn't help people, that's the bit of marketing I don't like now, because the false advertising, false living, people actually sometimes can feel worse in their life from all of that false advertising, because it's not real. So those are the things I hate, and I do hate them actually, because you know, just the, you know, the what are they called, the metrics where it's all about likes and follows and ego metrics. Vanity metrics. So the vanity metrics, I find that's what people get stuck on. And some people can even judge your business by it, but that is not what people have to look at. It's actually the results. It's what content is this person producing? Because one, you can buy likes, you can buy follows.
You can.
You can, and people don't realize that, I think, sometimes, and it doesn't actually work well for your account. But actually, you can get some people who have got 2 million followers and might get 2,000 likes on a post. Now, when you look at that in the statistics, it's no different from someone who maybe has got 300 people and has 12 regular people liking their post.
Liking their post. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
It's about who's actually engaging, who's paying attention. But all of the false, fake vanity metrics and lies that go up on Instagram that are not true, you know, where someone will be on a yacht, but actually they're just doing a tour and happen to just get everyone out the way behind, you know. I went to Hampton Court when it was the end of COVID and it was completely empty, and me and my daughter were walking around just hand in hand, just us. I could have easily been like, hired the house for the day, you know. it's actually some of the things that people do, you know. So you just got to be careful with stuff like that. It is hard, and I think it can put a lot of marketers off as well.
I think you've touched upon quite a lot of different things. There's that kind of what's authentic and what's not. You know, particularly because the market is saturated, particularly amongst marketers and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, you know, some people are marketers overnight, and some people have been marketers for quite some time, you know, experience and so on and so forth. So it's kind of like it can be tricky, and I think what's key is that as long as you show up in the right way and be authentic, I think that's what you kind of stay true to. Which brings me to my next question. From your experience, what are the misconceptions do people have about marketing?
So misconceptions that people have about marketing. Oh God, there's quite a few. So there's a massive difference between an influencer and a marketer. That's one. So they're very different things. You know, if someone is mainly just doing influencing and having to be on their things all the time, it's going to be hard for them to be working on somebody else's stuff as well. So I just think that there's a massive difference that people don't realize between an influencer, a UGC creator, like compared to someone who actually does your marketing. And I think a lot of people, mainly above, kind of like get quite confused with that. It's like, no, I'm not an influencer, I'm a marketer. It's very different. And you'll get them in your inbox on LinkedIn. You want to be an influencer? I see you're an influencer. I'm like, no, I'm actually a marketer, but thank you. And I think the other misconceptions is marketing and sales are very much the same thing. As in, like, if you don't have sales in your mind with your marketing, then it's going to go nowhere. So it's very much a collaboration. And I think sometimes there's a pull between marketing and sales where they go on this divide, and actually need to work together in order for that to happen. And in today's day and age, you know, marketing is a must, because the challenges of how easy it is to see things, you know, you really need that, but you need your sales team behind you to pull it into the kind of end game. So I think that there's quite a lot of misconceptions on, you know, how important marketing is and why we need it, and everyone just thinking, oh, they just post on Facebook. No, that's very stressful, because you have to actually make posts pop now. It's not what it once was. Now you really have to stand out from the crowd. You know, otherwise it's just one of the many. Like, you've got millions of posts going out every day, you know, millions. So in order for you to stand out, you have to really know how the social media works, because that's where most people are advertising. The biggest companies in the world understand, if you're not on social media marketing, what are you doing? If you're not putting money into your marketing, what are you doing? I always say, like, people don't buy Nikes because they've got the best clothing. They buy Nike because it's so well advertised and so well marketed. You can get the same type of trousers from most places for cheap. but we go to Nike because of the Nike tick. When you think about how ridiculous that is, that people pay extra money for a tick, you know, on their clothing, that's a marketing. That's marketing. That's a marketing win, you know. So it's, I think there's a lot of misconceptions on how important marketing is.
Definitely. And I think the whole brand element is quite important as well, is because
Yeah.
people need to buy in to your company, your brand, your ethos, your culture, you know, what that looks like. I think gone are the days where it's, you know, some people buy just to buy. That's
Yeah.
fine. But some people actually buy because they believe in what that company does and what that company stands for. So it's, yeah, like you said, it's marketing is quite key. How do you stay up to date with what's happening in the market?
God, in many stressful ways. I do like HubSpot. HubSpot does really good courses constantly. LinkedIn has loads of courses to keep you up to date. I follow quite a lot of marketers. I follow a lot of people who have good influence to see what they're doing. I follow the platforms that I'm actually using, like the creator platforms that they have. So obviously on Instagram, you have like Instagram creators, and they always pop up what's new. And obviously with Instagram, that way the algorithm works, you know, if you use their new stuff straight away, they kind of like you and then push your stuff out. So I do. I listen to a lot of podcasts as well, you know, because like I love Stephen Bartlett. He's one of my favorites. I think everyone's a big Stephen Bartlett fan.
Yeah.
But the way that he's marketed himself and the little nuggets of advice he gives are amazing. I also love Jenna Kutcher. She's
Hmm.
amazing. She's really good with the way she's marketed herself. And yeah, there's many that I listen to a lot. I think it's constantly listening and learning, and you actually can stay on the trends. Like I'm not a big like following the latest TikTok dances or things like that. Like that's not where my niche of people are. But I think it's fun, but it's not sometimes what drives in sales, and that's what I'm like passionate about.
Makes sense. Makes sense. If a young person wanted to get into marketing, what advice would you give them?
Oh, so if a young person was to get into marketing, because I've worked with young people for 15 years, so I really understand there is no same fit for every single young person. Every young person is different, and not
Yeah.
everyone is academic. Some people are academic. I think if you're going into university or college with it, it's just understanding what the course is, what it entails, but don't rely solely on that course. You need
Yeah.
to actually learn from people who are in the industry that you are in. And if you are someone who is not academic, don't let exam results or what you are judged on based on an hour and a half exam board that doesn't know you, doesn't know what you can do, and you might be someone who just does not do well in tests, or your attention span isn't there on things that you're not passionate about. There are so many courses that work on you actually learning over periods of times. There are people who can help you, like apprenticeships, etc., where you can learn on the job, where those types of people would benefit more. I am not an academic person. I did not do well in school, and I've proved everyone wrong when they thought I was going to be nothing. I've been many things that people have been very impressed by, and I have not got that educational background. And you can still thrive, you can still learn. The way you learn outside of school is very different to the way you learn in school. And like I said, some people fit that mold and they're very comfortable in their academics and learning in that way, but there are some people who just need to be practical. So find the routes that work for you, talk to people, learn from people who have been where you want to be. Like
Yes.
it's one thing to learn from people who have never done anything that you want to do. That's fine to take bits of advice, but if you really want to be serious about it, find that person who is where you want to be in your future and go and learn from them. When I first
Mm.
got into my first agency job, I knew I wanted to be in the dance agency world. I knew this, and I found my uncle was an actor, and he told me about the best ones in London. And I showed up every single day at this office and walked in and just started working for them. I said, you don't have to pay me. I just ran coffee. I did filing, to the point that they hired me, because this person was where I wanted to be. And I still talk to her now. Like, she's still my mentor. I still go to her with many issues. And, you know, just to kind of joke back and forth about, oh God, how did you ever deal with that? And, you know, and she still laughed at the fact that I just kept coming in as if I worked there until I actually hired her. Because if you have got that drive and that get up and go, no one can put you in an individual box. So you can do whatever you want to do. You just have to pick your route, and don't let systems put you in that box. Don't think, oh, because I didn't get all of my GCSEs I wanted to get, it's not over. You'll be fine. It's going to be fine. You know, if you don't go to university, the world hasn't ended. You don't need to feel like, oh, well, I'm not going to get picked for things. Listen, if you're good at what you do, they're going to pick you.
Definitely.
You know?
And I think it's that perseverance, as you just mentioned earlier, and I'm sure your why came into the mix there as well. You know, I think if you are focused and you have your why, like why do you want to get to where you want to get to, I think that will just propel you at some darkest moments, you
Yeah.
know. It will just, so tapping into the why, be, you know, just persevering and doing what you need to. There's all sorts of avenues. You just need to, in a sense, be strategic, right? Have
Yeah.
your own personal strategy behind what you're trying to do. So it definitely makes a lot of sense. Work-life balance. How do you create work-life balance between home and work?
So I used to have no work-life balance in my last business. I was obsessed with it, and you know, it got really good results, and that was all good. But by the time I sold it, I was burnt out. So now moving forward, I've always prioritized, like, there are certain times of the day that I actually now have set, like, I don't do work. So I really am, I think work-life balance, you actually have to be really strong with yourself, because it's easy to fall into like going one way or the other, like, oh, I'm just not going to do work and I'm going to do too much work. So it's actually setting yourself a structure and actually prioritizing what times you really need for yourself. Because if you are burnt out, you never do your best work, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, for me, my family are they're the reason I'm doing all of this. So trying to speak to myself and say, like, well, actually, what is the point in me doing this if they're going to suffer, you know? So, or I'm going to suffer, which then makes them suffer. So I've now started to work on like structures. That's why, you know, I'm trying to work out the best organization skill, like not skill, platform to work with to really progress my structures, because that seems to work for me. If I have like, so like everyone knows that between 2:30 and 3:30 in the day, don't ask me to do nothing, because that is my school run. I am the first parent there, ready to pick up my kid, because I never want her to be waiting, and she knows that. And we have our hour of time where we're like, okay, right, this is our after school time. And that is precious to me. And even when I was in my main job, I was like, that is my time. Like, I'd rather not have a lunch break, and I'll take that time, because it's a priority for me. So I think it's just making sure you understand your structures, how much time you can work productively, taking a break and stuff, because I think sometimes people can work like 8 hours straight, but the productiveness is not there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I think when you become a mum, I think even then your work balance definitely changes, because you're like, right, I need to be able to do 5 different things within this one gap that used to only be one of me. So it's like you really do learn to kind of do things a lot quicker. And I find if I'm working for shorter periods of time, I get so much work done compared to if I work from like 8 till 8 at night. You know, if I do that, I don't do as much efficient work. Whereas I find if I work from 9 till 2:30, have a break, and then work from like 3:30 till 5, that's a really nice balance for me. And I can get pretty much all the things done I need to do, you know, and I don't feel burnt out.
That's definitely some good nuggets there in terms of just kind of managing your time. And I think by the sounds of it, it's kind of like what works best for you in your situation. And
Yeah.
like you said, you're a mum, so it's kind of prioritizing that time
Mm,
with your daughter. So it's really quite key. And obviously hubby time as well. You need to
yes. And
prioritize
yes,
that as
he is a
well.
priority. I
So
don't throw him in a lot, but he is very much a priority. He's just my wingman, so we just kind of class ourselves as one. So it's an interesting dynamic.
So I know family is extremely important to you, I think, which is brilliant. And it's yeah, it's important. What is your passion in life and what drives you?
Oh, my passion is helping people, without a doubt. I have got ex-students and ex-employees who I have taught, dancers that have worked for me for 15 years, and I still can't get rid of them, and I love it. I love that they're still coming to me for advice, that they're still very much within my life. Ex-staff that I've had are very much still in my life, and they're all thriving. I've got, you know, people who I started teaching when they were like 7, and now they're professional dancers. You know, like they're living their dream and doing everything they've wanted to do. And with businesses, I know that where someone can kind of think that it might not make it, like I can really show people how to grow and how to kind of see the best in their business and what
Mm,
nuggets they need to kind of use to kind of help like other people. What they have is great. This could help people. Let's do this, you know.
mm,
And I really love I love helping people. I love, like, even when I've been working elsewhere, I'm all about helping my team. I'm all about helping the other employees. I stand up for everyone. I stand up for what's right. I put myself up on the chopping block regularly because I want everyone to thrive. So helping people, it just is my passion, especially young people as well. Like, I think that we easily forget how much they are going to be leading us in the future, and how
mm,
their careers can start very early and they can thrive from early on. You don't have to wait. You can do it young, you can do it late, you can do it at any time. But with young people, they definitely have a little special part in my heart, because I just think teens are very misunderstood and just seen as these like torrential, like mad people, and we're all hypocrites because we were all the same. We were all probably worse,
yeah.
you know, and they just need people to talk to. They just need to be talked
Mm,
to like normal. Like they just want to be spoken to as if there is potential in them, you know.
yeah.
And some of the things that they think are ridiculous, we thought were ridiculous. Some things that
Mm,
they think are boring, we still think are boring. So why are we trying to pretend like that's not a thing, you know? So it's just, I think, being real and giving good advice, you know, I just really love doing that and helping people, seeing people thrive. And when other people thrive, I think I enjoy it more than even when I thrive. Really
gosh,
get like a real hit when other people win.
that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
used to be known as a crazy person when we go to um well, we go to these competitions, and I'd have, I think, oh God, about 35 kids competing, and I would sit on the floor in the front and cheer every single one as if they were my own child. And I'd be there for every emotion, and I would not go to the toilet, and I'd have parents trying to feed me because I'd be like, no, they're on. Because I just would want to be that support for them, and I just loved seeing them thrive and feel good about themselves. And you know, every single time they did it, they would get a little bit more confidence, because if they got through one extra round, that's a win for them. And to other people, they'd
Mm,
be like, oh, but you didn't win. It's like, no, 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 they got one they got one step ahead, or they're scared of performing, but they got up there and they did it. You go. And I'd always say to them, it doesn't matter what anyone else says here, it's about what I say. And I'm proud of you. So we're winning. If they got up there and didn't try their best, then we'd have a problem. But, you know, I'm very much get off of seeing other people win.
That's that's pretty powerful for sure. I think that kind of lit me up inside, because that's what it's all about. It's about just kind of moving people in the right direction, keeping them motivated. I think with you know, a lot of businesses, you know, particularly like SMEs in the UK, for example, you know, this is people's bread and butter. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this is, they have families just like we all do, you know, and they're trying to achieve something, and it's kind of helping them. It's I think the whole kind of marketing piece is a lot bigger than just a social tile, like you said,
Yeah.
or a pop-up banner, or there's so much more to that. And it's kind of aligning with what that business does. It's understanding, you know, the founder or the leader, or the team, and it just goes that way, but you know, further.
And they're
For
spending most
sure.
of their life, you know, in their work. Like you think about how much time we spend at work. Like if you make it, you know, a really good environment, then you know they're going to thrive. They're going to do better work for you. They're going to have a good experience and want to do the best for you. If they hate being at work, you're paying them to be miserable.
Yes,
That's
yes,
just
yes.
how I always see it.
No, definitely. Is there somebody that inspires you, whether dead or alive?
Oh, yes, there definitely is. My granddad inspired me. He raised me with my nan. But my nan was an inspiration, but my granddad was just he always did what he said he wanted to do, no matter what, whether people thought he was mad or not. So
Mm.
he was a professional footballer when it was kind of like those early days, and he did really well with that. And then he was this professional footballer who then decided, I'm going to go and be a cabbie. And my nan obviously thinking he's absolutely mad. And then he went, well, actually, I want to open a sandwich shop. And he did that. And then he went, I'm going to open a pub.
Mm.
And he did all of them so successfully. And when I was, God, there's a picture of me literally in my bouncer, and he's making me do the banking with him. Because every
Oh.
morning when I go down for breakfast, he would, first of all, he'd say, Chloe, who's the most beautiful girl in the world? Because he wanted me to always be confident with myself and not need validating from anyone else. So he would say it every morning, and then he'd make me do the banking with him. So I'd always known about business and, you know, profit and loss and stock. And even from then, like, well, we're doing this, so we've got this event coming up, whether it be a karaoke or a bonus ball competition or whatever, you know. Sorry, my dog keeps popping in and out.
Don't worry, don't worry. It's all good. The dog comes with it as well. The dog's part of the family. What do you want to be remembered by?
You know, it's weird because I was at a funeral last week and the person said that the one thing they wanted to be known for was that they cared. And I think that mine is similar, but I want to be known as she really helped people. She helped people achieve their dreams and realize their potential. Like that's what I would like to be known for. And that's why I want to have, you know, a big team of people, because I want all of them, anyone who works for me, I want them to always know that they are valued and they can achieve whatever they want. You know, that's what I want to be remembered for.
That's pretty awesome, because I think those kind of foundations, the fundamentals on just you as a leader, but also what you build in terms of the culture of the organization or the business that you build. It needs to be aligned. And like you said, you know, a lot of people want to be part of something. They want to achieve something collectively. and they want to grow in confidence, skills, experience, all of that. So if you can be an owner that will give them that and take them on the journey, well, you know, that's pretty powerful for sure. If you had a chance to be a superhero and have superpowers,
Yeah.
so who would you be and why, or what would those superpowers be?
Oh. See, I'd probably be cheesy and pick Superman or Supergirl because she can fly, she's got the strength, and she can get everywhere she needs to be really quickly, which would be great for me in my life right now. but, but also, like, they just have that kind of no ego, wanting to help people, using their strength for the right reasons, using their strength for the right type of powers. And even the characters that they're very much like what people wouldn't realize, very shy in their normal life, but then they have this big powerful skill. Because, like, you think about Clark Kent or Kara Kent, and they're very like reserved, quite shy people, but still have that character. And a lot of people don't realize that I'm actually very shy. I'm actually a very shy and quite private person. Like, I don't wear my emotions on a sleeve or things like that. I'm not like emotional crier. I don't open up loads to loads of people. But, when I use my strength, I use it for reasons. I use it to help people. I use it to kind of progress whoever I'm with. So, yeah, I think that would definitely be my superhero, Supergirl, for me.
Amazing. I think humble comes into it as well. It's about, you can have this great skills, experience, and so on, but at least kind of, be humble with it,
Yeah.
And I think what's really, really powerful and quite key is understand the journey, understand your journey, understand where you've come from, um, and kind of use that experience to propel you to where you need to get to. But also, I think the main thing is to help people use that experience, use that skill, use that, you know, that kind of journey that you've gone through, and to help and inspire people, and you know, bringing it all together. I think that's, yeah, you've mentioned a lot of
Yeah.
good
Trying.
superpowers there. Good superpowers there. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, 5 years. I see myself with a really strong team, like my own team, where I can still do a lot of the strategies and still be within my business, but very much like allowing my team to run things and actually showing me what they can do, and still working probably towards more mentoring in
Yeah.
5 years, because I would like to do a lot more mentoring and prioritize that, because I do plan on building up my team and making them a solid firehouse where they're happy in their work, they're happy in their salary, they're happy in their work balance, and they are just ready to thrive. And I am not someone who is a micromanager. So as long as I'm there to help support them where they need me to jump in 5 years, I want to be like, right, you guys do you. And I think that's 5 years, that's where I see myself. I see myself with a really successful business, successful team, and mentoring people, especially young people who want to get into the entrepreneurial business of, that's kind of the route they want to go. They don't necessarily want to go and, work in a corporate job or work for someone else or work in a factory. They actually want to do something different. So I'd like to be there in 5 years. And obviously, wifing it up, lifing it up, mumming it up, enjoying time with my girl, because she'll be, how old will she be then? She'll be 12 by then.
Oh.
Even more sassy.
I love it. I love it. I love it. When you go on holiday, what do you like to do?
Nothing. And it's interesting because I know that it's actually very much the only time I shut down, because I call it holiday and trips. There's two very different things for me. So if we're going on our holiday, that's our all-inclusive, where I don't have to be like, Mum, can I have this? What are we having for dinner tonight? Which I think is one of the most, that line is the most unsexy thing in life. What are we having for dinner tonight? So what we're going to do for dinner tonight? It just, everything in my mood just goes down, because it's just such an annoying question every day that we all need to do. So when we go on holiday, I like to it just be about us. It's the only time where you can have like 2 weeks where the only thing we have to worry about is having fun, changing our swimsuit, the lunches that have whatever you want. There's loads of options, you know. We go in the beach, we go swimming, we go snorkeling, we go in the water parks, and it's just us time. And I think that that's quite a rare thing where you're just together and you're just learning so much that even though you live together, you learn more in that time. And it's memories that you will remember the time you spent together. We're not really into like putting Grace in the kids club and stuff, because we're like, no, this is our holiday with you, and we like to have fun, because I'm a big kid and I like to play on my Lilo in the pool and act like an absolute crazy person. And I have a kid, so I can get away with that now, you know. I'm doing it for the kids, you know. But then when I go on trips, so like when we went to Venice, I love history. So anywhere I can hit a history site, I'm there. I love it. I think we went to like 5 or 6 different museums in the week that we went to Venice and Florence. So yeah, my trips are definitely more adventurous about history. My holidays, if you are a busy person, that is your time to not do anything. I turn off my phone. I never post on social media when I'm on holiday. Never. Like, I'm on holiday, why am I posting a story about it? Like, it's so weird, because it's like, and people are like, well, why not? I'm like, because that's what I do as a job. I don't want to do it on holiday. You can see my holiday when I'm home. You know. So yeah, I'm very much like chill, do nothing, beach, pool, beach. That's me.
Sleep, eat, repeat.
Margaritas.
If you had to ask the audience a question, what would that be?
What makes someone inspire you?
Okay.
Yeah, that would be my question to the audience. What makes someone inspire you? Because just even answering that question, you can kind of learn about what people are attracted to, whether it be brand wise, personality wise, because I think brand has changed so much now. Brand is no longer about your color scheme and stuff like that. It's about the person who's driving the company, and those traits that could inspire someone that's the reason why someone will buy from you. The reason Stephen Bartlett is so successful is also because of his inspirational ways, like the way he talked, the way he's just so real. You know, so understanding what actually inspires people, like what makes them be inspired by someone, that is actually a real question that a lot of marketers need to understand when it comes to looking at their audience. And because we keep looking at the trends of like what's on socials, but actually what is the trend of what people are actually inspired by now? Because that's the real trend, that's the real answer. Because a lot of people, I think, would say the same that we have, where it's like they're sick of seeing all the fakeness. And Stephen Bartlett is not fake, you know. He's very real, and he still goes to events and talks to people and engages on his socials, and he has like his Telegram threads, and he's got his threads on Instagram now where he's posting in there. And you know, I did a test where I actually sent him a message, and one of his people were very honest and said, oh, you know, we'll pass this on to Stephen, and I actually got a response. So it shows that he's still very much present to his audience. He's still making sure that he puts things in place so that the people who are inspired by him are getting a response. Whereas sometimes you'll do that, and I do these tests quite a lot, and you'll get nothing. So it's working out actually what is it about these people, and me asking myself, what is it about these individual people that inspire me? A
Yeah.
bit like you, Gemma, you know, you've inspired me a lot since we've met, you know, and I think that when we met, I realized like this is the type of person I want to work with. Like this is a powerhouse that I want to be in that energy space with, you know. So it's just those simple things of like, what about someone inspires you?
Well, I have to say the same for you, because you're a powerhouse yourself. And I think as well, because of the why, you know, we go back to earlier, what are we passionate about, you know, how we show up, what do we want to achieve, right? And I think our partnership is lightning, you know. It's definitely, and I love how you show up as well. So I think, yeah, it's a great partnership, great partnership. Do you have any final words that you'd like to share?
Final words. Don't let anyone tell you can't do it. Don't let other people's opinions make you question your morals or what you want to achieve. And always show up as your best self. Always try and put yourself out there as you want to be received and how you would want to be treated in every aspect. And that's every person around you, because you'll see great results from it. And yeah, that's pretty much my final words. And have fun with the family. Loads of fun, as much fun as possible. Life is short. Have as much fun as you possibly can.
That's great. That's brilliant. And I think respect, you know, just
Yeah,
having respect goes a long way. When
yeah.
you respect people, their energy, their boundary, you know, all of that sort of great stuff. Chloe, it's been an absolute pleasure for you to be on the podcast. I could pull out more than a handful of nuggets of what you've talked about on this and what you've shared. And it was lovely to hear about just how you keep us abreast of the market, what your why is, you know, what gets you up in the morning. And I think that whole kind of work-life balance around, you know, having a young daughter and a hubby and all that great stuff. So I think, yeah, there's many more nuggets from you to come. And just want to thank you once again.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been amazing.
Thank you so much, Chloe. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye. Take care.